Come see my successful 2025 Kindle.
Hello, friends. So I am Nicole Birch. I live in far western Montana, and I have decided that my grown-up hobby is rabbits. So this fall, I had a tremendously difficult time getting my does in particular motivated and inspired to breed, which is abnormal for rabbits. Let's just say that. And I do breed my rabbits for meat, and we also do showing with the American Rabbit Breeders Association shows in our local area. We live in an area, like a tri-state area, that has a lot of shows in the Pacific Northwest and in Montana, but none that are close. Like, I have to drive at least 2 hours to go to a show one way. So when I'm trying to plan to breed, I'm hoping to bring the most juniors, which is under 6 months old and less than 8 pounds body weight, to shows so that I can see what my current herd stock is doing, like what they're producing, what is what's working, what's not working, what pairings are best. And then I know which rabbits to keep, sell, or graduate to Camp Kenmore. We did go ahead and switch out a few things, changed our feed, tried to figure out exactly what, like, pinpoint the problem. We were not the only rabbit breeders that I'm aware of that were having this breeding problem, specifically with does. And so finally, we have been able to, in the last month, breed all 12 of my does. And 2 of them were open, meaning that they did not conceive. And so they were rebred. One has a very long tail and it kept getting in the way of breeding. We finally got her bred. Yay. Intervention. And then we have had, we're calling it Kitsmas. This is now March 2025. We are in the midst of Kitsmas, and we have had a couple does that have decided that they are going to kindle during the daytime, which is totally not normal. My understanding is that it means that they feel safe in our rabbitry, which makes me happy. Because some of these does that have kindled during the daytime are my most sassy pants does, which, when I say sassy pants, like, they've tried to nip at other people, not me. Okay, so I have right-hand rabbitry helpers that are 13 years and older in my home, and they've nipped at them, but not me. Well, one of them finally nipped at me. She's the one that threw 11. She had 11 kits, and it was her first Kindle. Kindle meaning, delivery, pregnancy, for a rabbit. And she's doing great. All 11 are still alive, which is phenomenal. A normal size Kindle for a rabbit is between 6 and 8, at least in my rabbitry. Some have less, some have way more than that, but average is somewhere between 6 and 8. So that's considered a healthy size number of baby rabbits or kits. Kitsmas comes lots of options for both feed or for food and show. And with lots of options comes lots of opportunities to decide which pairings are working and which aren't. I have 4 bucks right now, boys, and I have 12 does. I do know that I aim to keep backups from my backups when it comes to full-grown, capable rabbits in my breeding program. And I am focused on varieties that are solid color from ear to tail, called self in the rabbitry world. And those colors are blue, black, chocolate, and lilac. So blue is diluted black, which looks gray. Lilac is diluted brown, chocolate, which also looks gray, but it has like a silvery pink tinge to it because the skin of a chocolate brown rabbit is pinkish because of its hair. And so those are the colors that I'm focusing on. I do have varieties called otter, which have brown tan ticking on nose, chin, belly, ears, and paws. So that's what I've got in my rabbitry, and I love it so much. It's my favorite. So I am going to show you my current Kindles that have survived. I have had a couple losses, which does happen. It's not the doe's fault. It's cold here in Western Montana, and sometimes the babies just get out. Or mama doesn't pull enough hair because one of them was a first-time mama, and she didn't pull enough hair. So, accidents. But she did get them in the nest. Good girl. So, there we are.
I kicked off Kidsmas with Beach and Smoke Show. Smoke Show was kind of a special case where she started begging for her nest box. She was pulling fur with no box in her space, and so I gave her the box thinking, oh, she just wants to build because she wasn't due for another 10 days. We had put her with one of my bucks that wasn't doing very well, but he also wasn't sick. And he had been disinterested with breeding with all 12 of my does for months. And I had not had a Kindle from him be successful since September of 2024. And I put him with Smoke Show, and she kindled 10 days early. And look, they had to be his because we had bred her with the same buck as Beach. So they should have all been chocolate, which is brown. So here's one of Beach's, and he looks just like his daddy, Walnut. So Walnut is a chocolate otter, and he is adorable. He has eyeliner. That's what my kids call that white circle on his eye. And it is just to die for. And then these are Smoke Show's babies, and this little baby looks exactly like her daddy. Her daddy was a blue otter. So, yep, she's a hungry little girl. Hungry, hungry hippos. The joke is they're called nest hippos. And then Tic Tac joined the crew, having her first kits. She had 11. That is the most I have ever seen out of any of my does. And she did really great.
This is my Kindle of 11 babies. Oh my goodness. My Tic Tac did such a good job. She's keeping them all nice and fed. Good job, Mama. My Maggie had 8 little beans. Yesterday during the day, actually. And look at that little otter. They're all black, blue, and maybe lilac, but they're so precious. They're from, their daddy is right here. His name is Bet You Didn't Know That I Was Dangerous. And then Mommy is my brindle girl. Say hi. She's my mean mugger, but I loves her.
That's a little Bucky.
This is your baby.
That's the Bucky that has good eyeliner.
Oh.
My sister came to visit, and oops, she fell in love with a rabbit. It happens. So these are all the Beachy babies. This is the torted one. And sometimes I can tell what they are at this age. They're about a week old here. Sometimes I can't. So if you see that there is no designation of gender, it's because they were moving too much, or I was questioning myself on what they're meant to be here. So, yep, that little otter's adorable. I love baby rabbits. I do handle them twice a day while they're still little. It's good for being socialized with humans, but it's also good for making sure that they're doing well. There are lots of myths about touching rabbit babies and that the mama will reject them.
So this is my girl
99%
Beach.
of
She's
the
my
time.
chocolate
That is not the
doe.
problem.
And there are her 8 babies. She had these babies with Walnut. Hi, Mama. These are my Maggie's babies. A little box of black-based Rex. There's some girls and some boys in here. There's 8.
And here are the JoJo beans, as I'm calling them. Their sire was named Jordan. And Smoke Show was doing such a good job of raising out these kits. As you can see, I'm doubting myself on some of the gender designations here, but time will tell, right? So, definitely a little box of black-based Rex for her. For this round, I kept my black-based rabbits together in pairings and my chocolate-based rabbits in pairings.
So here is my Smoke Show and Jordan litter. We got a box of blue and black, pretty much blue and blue. And there's Mommy. Hi, Smoke Show.
Hi, Smoke Show.
Baobab is a JoJo bean as well and a first generation treehouseian. She has treehouse with her name. And these are her babies with Butternut. And General Sherman is also a treehouseian, and so is Miss Tree. Magenta is in Jordan's line, and I caught her panting here because she's in active labor at this time. So the unpredictability of a first-time mom is that rejecting the litter doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong with it, but it does happen more frequently in first Kindles. That is the case here for Tic Tac. Maggie, on the other hand, is a very experienced mom, and you will see here that she also decided that she was going to quit mothering. So this is all Tic Tac and Maggie babies in the same nest box. Just chill. Both of these Kindles were black-based pairings with the mom and the dad. So to designate the kits, because I had not tattooed their left ear at this point in time because they're too little, I went ahead and put nail polish on all of Tic Tac's kits' left feet so that I could tell who they were. That way, when it came time to tattoo them, I didn't put the wrong designation on their ear. And when I shelve kits, I do make sure that they have mama fur. So we combined fur from both mommies here, and then we would put them in a dark place that was safe. We do have cats, and they were perfectly fine. Once their fur was in, we put them outside. Butternut dropped some Easter eggs in his pairing. He dropped some blue fawn brindles in every pairing that I did with him during Kitsmas, and it's my new favorite variety. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.